Hello and welcome to Benue Television News at 7. I am Jude Alaki. The headlines. Governor Hyacinth Elia swears in Richard Tombowa as Chairman, Benue State Independent Electoral Commission. Katsina State Police Command arrests hoodlums with bags of fertilizer allegedly stolen from warehouse in Dutsima local government area of the state. And on the international scene, Al-Shabaab kills 32 in suicide bombing in Somalia's capital. Governor Hyacinth Elia has directed the chairman of Benue State Independent Electoral Commission, BSEC, Dr. John Chen, to immediately hand over to the administrative secretary of the commission. The governor's directive followed communication of resolutions from the Benue State House of Assembly for implementation. According to a press release by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Teso Kula, the resolutions include, amongst others, that the chairman of the commission, Dr. John Chen, be removed from office. According to the release, the Assembly accused the BSEC chairman of lacking good judgment as to which decision will appeal to the greater majority of all stakeholders, and also that his action so far in office falls short of public interest. I recall that the BSEC chairman was inaugurated alongside other members of the commission on March 28, 2024. Similarly, Governor Hyacinth Elia has sworn in Mr. Richard Tombowa as the chairman, Benue State Independent Electoral Commission, BSEC, following the removal of John Chen. Governor Elia performed the ceremony at the Old Banquet Hall of Government House in Makati. Correspondent Emmanuel Akula completes the report.
After his successful screening and confirmation by the Benue State House of Assembly, Mr. Richard Tombowa takes oath of office as the new chairman of the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission, BSEC. Governor Hyacinth Elia describes the new BSEC head as a man of integrity, believes in social justice and fairness, which his administration and the state needs at the moment. Governor charges the new appointee to take his appointment as a clarion call to serve the state and nation, urging him to approach his new assignment with transparency, accountability and responsibility without playing politics.
This is a clarion call from the state, your state, where you have devoted your services and your life for the growth and for the development of everyone. This call surpasses or supersedes any other services you have rendered to this state. It is my firm belief and conviction that your acceptance to serve some more is also going to produce great fruits for all of us, all political parties in this state. Let your integrity continue to point to this call.
The BSEC chairman, Mr. Richard Tombowa, who accepts the offer to serve the state in that capacity, promises to do so in consonance with the law guiding the commission's operations.
Your Excellency, I shall do this by upholding the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. The Benue State Independent Electoral Commission for 2024 as amended. The Benue State Independent Electoral Commission law and the guidelines and regulations governing our operations.
The Benue State government is to support media in the state to perform their duty as watchdog of the society. Governor Hyacinth Elia made the pledge at government investment in property company BIPC Guest House, Makati, while declaring open a one-day capacity building and training workshop for correspondent chapel of Nigeria Union of Journalists, Benue State Council. Correspondent Emmanuel Akula brings us details of the report.
This workshop is holding to build the capacity of journalists on economic reporting. The Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Elia, regards the media as partners in development, acknowledging their contributions to the strides his government has made since coming on board. The Governor attributes sponsorship of the workshop by his government through the Benue Investment and Property Company BIPC as part of his administration's support for the media in Benue State. Represented by his Chief Press Secretary Teso Kula, Governor Alia pledges the support of his administration to the media for effective dissemination of information to the public. Kola, who also presents a paper on sustaining government-media relationship in the 21st century, says the governor wants journalists to be more professional in carrying out their duties in the interest of the state and nation.
If there's any sector of this state that cooperated with His Excellency in the manner you have done, they will have to think of that sector. He said I should pledge that his government is always behind him.
Chairman of the Benue State Correspondence Chapter, Mr. Emmanuel Antoine, explains the aim of the workshop to enhance skills of members in reporting economic activities, especially in the area of evolving trends in their profession and the society.
We are here for only two reasons. One is to build our capacity to train us on how best we can report economic activities, financial issues, and also how we can provide developmental journalism in the state.
The event receives good messages and paper presentations from the Speaker, Benue State House of Assembly, Haruna Daju, Director General, Benue State Education Quality Assurance Agency, Dr. Tina Francis, State Coordinator of Rural Access Agriculture Marketing Project in Benue State, Mr. Stephen Numbeve, Managing Director of Benue Investment and Property Company, BIPC, Dr. Raymond Asemakaha, Commissioner for Justice and Public Order, Fidelis Imnim, and that of Works, Housing and Urban Development, Tiza Imojime. The speakers view the workshop as a tool and perspective for enhancing growth, learning, and development. The workshop is therefore expected to add value to journalists as partners in development, to sustain efforts to raise the consciousness and consciences of the society. Emmanuel Akula, Benue Television News, Makudi.
Governor Hyacinth Elias sends his warm appreciation to the people of Benue for heeding to his call not to join the nationwide protest. In a press statement, his Chief Press Secretary, Teso Kula, says the governor is particularly happy with the organized labor, trade unions, civil society organizations, the youth, and other groups in the state for keeping to their word not to participate in the protest. Governor Elias says the decision of the people to shelve the protests in the state demonstrates their firm belief in the policies of the APC-led administration in the country, saying it is an indication that the people are willing to give the government more time to improve on their welfare. The governor equally assures the people of the state of President Bola Tinubu's unflinching love for Benue, stating that the numerous projects embarked upon by his administration across the length and breadth of the state are as a result of the support and cordial relationship his administration has enjoyed from the Tinubu-led federal government. He promises to continue to do his best to provide good governance, maintaining that it is the only way he will justify the trust placed in him by the people of Benue. The state chief executive implores the people to continue to remain peaceful, going about their normal businesses throughout the period. A report just reaching us says President Bola Tinubu is to address Nigerians in the nationwide broadcast on Sunday, August 4, 2024 by 7 a.m. The broadcast is expected to focus on the nationwide protest against bad governance. This is in response to calls from several quarters and the president to speak to Nigerians and the protesters in particular on what his administration is doing to meet the demands of the protesters. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more stories. Do stay. Good to have you back. Benue State government is targeting 90% rate of exclusive breastfeeding by the 2025 to accomplish the World Health Assembly global target. The state's Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Dr. Yama Otisi, made this known during the occasion of the World Breastfeeding Record for Simultaneous Breastfeeding and 2024 World Breastfeeding Week flag-off. Represented by his Permanent Secretary, Dr. Beatrice Tabmu, Dr. Otisi commended the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF for supporting Benue State and Nigeria as a whole to attain a world record for the most lactating women breastfeeding simultaneously. He noted that the project aims to gather at least 30,000 lactating women across 30 major cities, including Abuja and selected internally displaced persons camps. He stated that the initiative aims to raise awareness about exclusive breastfeeding, addressing harmful nutrition, specifically the introduction of water in the first 6 months of life, and ultimately support the achievement of the World Health Assembly global target of increasing the rate of exclusive breastfeeding to at least 50% by 2025, and for Benue from 56.8% to 90% by the year 2025. The Health Commissioner called for sustained advocacies for policies that protect and promote breastfeeding, including implementing and enforcing regulations that support breastfeeding in public spaces and ensuring that marketing practices of breast milk substitutes do not undermine breastfeeding efforts. A wife of the President, Oluremi Tinubu, has unveiled 200 beneficiaries of the Auda Nepad African School of Economics, a Renewed Hope Initiative scholarships in partnership with various national and international organizations. The beneficiaries were unveiled at the banquet hall of the State House, Abuja. The 200 students drawn from various fields will commence their academic careers at the African School of Economics, an affiliate of Princeton University, United States of America. The project is part of efforts to continue to enhance access to quality education for Nigerian youths. Mrs. Tinubu said that the administration of President Bola Tinubu remained committed to prioritizing education through numerous policies and programs. She highlighted significant initiatives such as the zero-interest student loan scheme, bursary and scholarship awards, and various educational infrastructure development projects aimed at ensuring every Nigerian student has unhindered access to education. She noted that the success of the Renewed Hope Initiative's National Scholarship Program, which last year provided scholarships worth 1 million naira per annum for 4 years and a brand new laptop to students in Nigerian tertiary institutions. According to her, these steps assisted students with tuition fees, books, and other educational expenses, with the second tranche of payments due in September. Mrs. Tinubu restated her focus on the education and empowerment of the Nigerian girl child, who has been historically and culturally excluded from receiving comprehensive formal education. The Katsina State Police Command has arrested 64 suspected hoodlums with 693 bags of fertilizer allegedly stolen from a warehouse in Dutsinma local government area of the state on the first day of the nationwide protest. The nationwide protest turned violent in Dutsinma township, where earlier the protesters burned down the party office of the All Progressive Congress (APC). The command spokesperson ASP Abubakar Aliu, who disclosed these newsmen, said the hoodlums vandalized the fertilizer warehouse in Dutsinma township and carted away 693 bags, but were later arrested. Aliu said the disorderly behavior of the protesters compelled the state government to impose a 24-hour curfew on the Tema local government area and a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew on the remaining 33 local government areas of the state. Meanwhile, relative calm has since returned to the state since the declaration of the curfew. The Nigerian Baptist Convention has issued a 15-point demand to President Bola Tinubu, urging him to take immediate action to address the country's hunger crisis. In an open letter on Saturday, the convention's president, Reverend Dr. Israel Akanji, called on the government to acknowledge the suffering of Nigerians and work towards providing realistic solutions. The demands include addressing food insecurity, mobilizing youth to take up farming, creating employment opportunities, reducing fuel prices, and stabilizing the naira. Reverend Akanji also urged the government to engage in dialogue with stakeholders to douse the current tension in the country and take early warning signals of danger seriously. He emphasized the need for constant communication with the people. He stated that ignoring early warning signals of danger could lead to further disaster. The Baptist Convention's demands are the latest in a series of calls for action from religious and civil society groups in the country. Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEV, has commended youths, ex-agitators and other groups in the Niger Delta region for their peaceful disposition towards the nationwide protest against bad governance. The forum, however, called on the various groups to end the protest, saying their voice had been heard. A National Publicity Secretary of PANDEV, Ken Robinson, made the call in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Saturday. Robinson said the call for them to discontinue the protest followed the incidents of looting and destruction of lives and properties in some parts of the country. He expressed shock that hoodlums and criminal elements may hijack the protest and cause a breakdown of law and order in the region. He called on government at all levels to take necessary and urgent steps to address the difficulties citizens are facing. I'll go on another break. We'll come back with news on the international scene. Do stay. Good to have you back. You're still watching Benue Television News at 7. Around 4 stories on the international scene, at least 32 people have been killed and many more wounded in a suicide bombing and gun attack on Lido Beach in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. According to officials, Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda-linked armed group claimed responsibility for the attack on the popular beach. The assault began when a suicide bomber blew himself up at the entrance of the Beach View Hotel. Several other attackers tried to storm the hotel and also fired at people on the beach, where many residents were walking or sitting. Police spokesman Abdi Fattah Hassan told newsmen that security forces had neutralized all the attackers at the scene and captured another one who was driving a car filled with explosives. Somalia's federal government has so far condemned the attack. According to security experts, Al-Shabaab has been fighting to topple the central government in Mogadishu for more than 17 years, carrying out numerous bombings and other attacks in the capital and other parts of the country. The government depends on the support of foreign troops to stay in power. It has also joined forces with local armed groups to fight the group in a campaign supported by an African Union and United States air raids. But the offensive has suffered setbacks, with Al-Shabaab earlier this year claiming it had taken multiple locations in the center of the country. In June, Somalia called for the slowing down of the withdrawal of an African peacekeeping mission, which is expected to pull out by December 31, 2024. Protesters in Bangladesh have taken to the streets to demand justice for the more than 200 people killed in last month's student-led demonstrations over quotas in government jobs. The large protest on Saturday came as student leaders called for a nationwide civil disobedience campaign until Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government resigns. The group responsible for organizing the initial protest, Students Against Discrimination, rejected an offer of talks with Hasina earlier on Saturday. The group's leader, Nahid Islam, told a crowd of thousands at a monument to national heroes in the capital, Dhaka, and the Prime Minister must resign and face trial. Hasina on Saturday called on the protest leaders to meet her at her official residence, Ganabhaban, saying the door was open. The Prime Minister has also appointed 3 senior officials to negotiate with the protesters. The demonstrations began over the reintroduction of a quota scheme that reserved more than half of all government jobs for certain groups, has since scaled back by Bangladesh's top court. With some 18 million young Bangladeshis out of work, the move upset graduates facing an acute unemployment crisis. Ukraine says it has carried out attacks on a number of military targets in Russia, including an airfield and oil depots, as Russian authorities reported intercepting dozens of drones over several regions. In a post on social media, Ukrainian General Staff on Saturday said its forces had struck an airfield in Mosorok, hitting ammunition depots with guided air bombs, as well as fuel storage facilities in the Belgorod, Kursk, and Rostov regions. In Russia, local officials reported that tanks at a fuel storage depot in the Kamensky district of the Rostov region caught fire as a result of the drone attack. The regional governor of Belgorod also said the Ukraine-launched drones caused a fire at an oil storage depot there, adding that the fire was extinguished and no one was injured. Russian officials did not address claims regarding the airfield, but Rostov Governor Vasily Golubev said authorities introduced a state of emergency in the district of Morozov. Golubev stated that the region was attacked by 55 drones, without specifying how many of these were intercepted and how many hit targets. According to analysts, Ukraine has stepped up aerial attacks in recent months on Russian territory in retaliation to the bombardments it has faced since President Vladimir Putin sent his troops into the neighboring country in February 2022. Ukrainian officials have repeatedly called on Western allies for permission to use their weapons for long-range attacks on Russia, in addition to striking military targets close to the border. Amid a blistering Russian air campaign in recent months, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has placed Ukraine's need for improved air defenses at the top of his agenda at meetings with allies. Well, that's the size of our package for the evening. The top stories just before we go. Governor Hyacinth Elia has sworn in Richard Tombowa as chairman, Benue State Independent Electoral Commission. Katsina State Police Command has arrested hoodlums with bags of fertilizer allegedly stolen from warehouse in Dutimma local government area of the state. And on the international scene, we told you that Al-Shabaab has killed 32 in suicide bombing in Somalia's capital. Many thanks for your attention. My name is Jude Alaki. Have a beautiful Saturday evening.